Hello and welcome to Somerville Highlander Baseball on Somerville Ed TV. I'm Todd Harmon and we are getting underway quickly here at Trum Field as the Highlanders take on the Crimson Tide of Everett. The first pitch is inside and low. On the mound for the Highlanders today is Aiden O'Sullivan. Aiden's coming off a really good start against Lynn English. 5 innings of work, 10 strikeouts for Aiden, and there's one of those tough pitches of Aiden's as the swing and the miss from Marshall. Marshall leading off for the Crimson Tide. He is pitching as well for the Crimson Tide today. Left-hander at the plate here, leading off, just underway here at Trum Field. Coming in, the Highlanders undefeated, 3-0 on the young season. So that one's low and away. Ball 2, 2 balls, 1 strike, the count to Marshall. That one's popped into the air, settling underneath it at shortstop. Now he's got to get out there. Did not play that one correctly as he misjudged it at the shortstop position. Was Kevin Clark. Got a little bit behind him there early in the day. Morning baseball, 10 a.m. start today. So that sun really got into Kevin's face there, prevented the opportunity to get the pop-up, and Marshall is on with the single. As Anel tries to throw it down to first base, trying to get Marshall off. Ball goes out into right field. Marshall ends up at third base on the errant throw by Mateus Anel. So nobody out here, runner now on third. As that one's outside. Ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes, nobody out here. Top of the first inning. Highlanders coming in with a 3-0 record. Crimson Tide coming in 3-2 overall, 2-2 in the GBL. As that one's in there for a called strike. 2 balls, 1 strike, now the count to Gibbs, the shortstop for the Crimson Tide. Ryan Gibbs, a senior, as he swings and pops that one off the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes, now the count. First opportunity for us to cover the baseball team this season. Got out to a great 3-0 start with 3 road wins. So they were able to defeat Malden, Lynn English, and Medford to get to that 3-0, and a swing and a miss. Strike 3 as O'Sullivan gets his first strikeout of the day. Averaged 2 strikeouts per inning in his win versus Lynn English, a 3-2 Highlander victory. Runner on third, 1 away now, swing and foul back into the screen for Tuili. As Matthew Turia, up to bat, third base, or right fielder, I should say, for the Crimson Tide. That one's up high, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, now the count. 1 away, runner is on third as Marshall popped it into short left field. Ball was misplayed, fell in, and then he advanced to third on a throwing error by Mateus Anel. So that one goes back off the backstop, but bounces back to Anel. So he's able to prevent Marshall advancing. Two ball, 1 strike offering now, 1 away from O'Sullivan. So that's swing and a miss, strike 2. A little high heat there from O'Sullivan. Couldn't catch up to it, was Turia. 2-2 offering as O'Sullivan checks the runner. That's called strike 3 on the outside corner. So O'Sullivan trying to strike his way out of this early trouble as leadoff man Marshall got on first. A opposing pitcher as well. Marshall got on first, advanced to third on the errant throw attempt by Annell down to first, but now 2 away. Stepping in is Velasquez. Second baseman for the Crimson Tide, swing and a miss as he took a little bit off that one. No balls, 1 strike here for O'Sullivan. So he got the runner on third, and he's been able to strike out the next 2 batters, looking to get out without any damage done. So that's swung and missed. Nice change up there. So Sullivan doing a nice job varying his speeds and his locations. Got a swinging strikeout for the first out, a called strikeout for the second. And that one's on the outside corner for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count now. O'Sullivan looking to get out of this trouble. Had a runner on third with nobody out. Now there's 2 outs. The 1 ball, 2 strike offering up high with a fastball for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Another lefty, Velasquez. Leadoff man Marshall also is a lefty. He stands at third base. 2 outs, 2 and 2. And that's the curveball, just barely able to slow his swing down was Velasquez, tipping it foul. Good adjustment there by Velasquez. It was a really nice pitch by O'Sullivan. You can see O'Sullivan varying his speeds, using his curve to great effect as well to get out of this trouble. 2-2 offering. Fastball swung on and missed. Strike 3. He strikes out the side after getting a runner to third. Everett comes away empty, and the Highlanders are coming to bat in the bottom of the first. Highlanders coming up to bat here, bottom of the first inning, as they were able to keep Everett off the scoreboard, even though Everett had their leadoff runner at third with nobody out. Coming up for the Highlanders is Tejada, Annell, and Bourne. Tejada leading off for the Highlanders. First offering from Marshall is up high for ball 1. Marshall on the mound for the Crimson Tide today. That one fouled back into the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike now the count. Swing and a miss there for Tejada. Marshall took a little bit off of that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That one's a curveball. It's softly lined back to Marshall, and he makes the play. Good reaction there by Marshall on the mound as he was able to snag that one. That's going to bring up Mateus Annell. Annell, one of the co-captains on this team, the catcher as well. Co-captain along with Kevin Clark and Aiden O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, of course, on the mound for the Highlanders today. So that one's tipped foul. Goes out. No balls, 1 strike, the count to Annell. Annell has been involved in a lot of the offense so far for the Highlanders, as he had 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs in their opening season victory, 7-0 over Malden. That's popped high as our shortstop settles underneath it, and he makes the catch. Does Gibbs. Second out for the Highlanders. That'll bring up Ian Bourne. Bourne, the center fielder for the Highlanders. Got the save in Game 2 of the year when they beat the reigning champion Lynn English Bulldogs 3-2. He was also involved in the game-ending double play against Lynn English as they came away with that 3-2 victory. 1 ball, no strikes the count. 2 away here, bottom of the first. No score as that one catches the outside corner for strike 1. The lefty delivery from Marshall is in there for called strike 2. Bourne also a lefty on lefty matchup here. Marshall's 1-2 offerings popped back into the screen by Bourne. Looked like he took a little bit off of that one. Bourne was a little bit ahead of it, but was able to slow the bat enough to get the foul and stay alive. That one's down low, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count against Ian Bourne. Wind up and delivery from Marshall. Ground ball right up the middle as Bourne does a great job getting bat to ball and putting it right where they ain't. As Bourne keeps this inning alive with that single up the middle. That'll bring up Brendan Jones, cleanup man for the Highlanders. Jones had 2 runs scored in their opening season victory against Malden, a 7-0 victory a few weeks back. Highlanders very active on the base paths. As you can see right there, Ian Bourne away with the pitch. He is in safe. Play is well backed up at second base by Gibbs, or Bourne could have been off to third. He is in with the stolen base, though. So the Highlanders have a man in scoring position. 2 away, bottom of the first inning, no score. Pitch was a ball to Jones. So 1-0 is your count. Bourne running once again. This one's popped up. It's going to be out of play. And almost hit us. Lost sight of that one in the sun. Early day sun causing some difficulties here as well. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Jones. Runner now is still at second as Bourne was away with the pitch, but it was fouled out of play. So that one's up high, gets away from the catcher. Bourne will run, and that is safe at third. I will score that a passed ball currently. Might be an actual wild pitch depending upon what the official score wants to do, but either way, Ian Bourne stands at third base. The possible go-ahead run with 2 away here in the bottom of the first. 2-1 opportunity here as Jones swings and misses at that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Everett got a man on third with nobody out. We're not able to score in the top of this inning. Highlanders now with 2 outs have a man on third. As that's up high, good eye by Jones. Ball 3, full count now to Brendan Jones. Highlanders looking to continue their strong start to the season as they began this season 3-0 with wins over Malden, reigning champion Lynn English, and Medford. Medford, of course, the team they will be facing later this season at Tufts. And that one's inside, ball 4. So Jones will take first base. Highlanders with runners on the corners with 2 away here, looking for some 2-out thunder to bring some runs across. Noah Brown will step to the plate. Jones away with the pitch. And they got Bourne leaning as the throw down to second went to the pitcher. Bourne was leaning towards home. They fire it over to third, I should say, and tag him out for the 3rd out of the inning. The Crimson Tide get out of the trouble, and we move to the top of the 2nd, tied up at 0. We are back for the top half of the 2nd inning as the Crimson Tide will have coming to the plate numbers 5, 6, and 7, Velasco, Santana, and Lara, all to face off against O'Sullivan. As O'Sullivan allowed a base hit to lead off the game and then struck out the next 3 batters he faced. First offering here from O'Sullivan in the dirt. Ball 1 to Velasco. Velasco, the catcher for the Crimson Tide. Highlander strength is their starting pitching is O'Sullivan and Kevin Clark, 2 of the best arms in the GBL. As O'Sullivan outside, ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. You can see the velocity that O'Sullivan brings. He offsets that with a very nice breaker as well as a changeup that he uses to great effect as well, as that one's fouled out of play. Back towards Main Street. 2 balls, 1 strike the count. Outside, ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Nobody away here. Top half of the second. Scoreless game. That's a swing and a miss. O'Sullivan brought up the spicy mustard on that one. High and swung. Full count now. That one's charged foul down the left field line. Got out ahead of that one. Count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss on the high heat. And that's 4 straight strikeouts for O'Sullivan. A great start to this game for him. He had 10 strikeouts in 5 innings of work against Lynn English. That was back on April 4th, so about 2 weeks ago. That one's in there for a called strike. As Santana, the third baseman, digs in. No ball, 1 strike count now. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Aiden O'Sullivan doing the job right now on the mound. And he takes a little bit off that. Swung on strike 3. That is 5 straight strikeouts for Aiden O'Sullivan. After allowing the leadoff man on, he has been absolutely phenomenal. Highlanders were able to get the win against Lynn English. Very, very difficult team, reigning champion of the GBL. O'Sullivan was the winning pitcher that day. So that one's in there for a called strike. Lara, the center fielder, up right now for the Crimson Tide. Swung on and missed. Strike 2. O'Sullivan looking to strike out the side for the 2nd inning in a row. That's swung on and missed. Strike 3. Aiden O'Sullivan is dealing out there as he has 6 straight strikeouts. We move to the bottom of the 2nd with the Highlanders tied with the Crimson Tide. We're back for the bottom half of the 2nd inning as the Highlanders will have coming to the plate numbers 5, 6, and 7, Noah Brown, Aiden O'Sullivan, and Jared Antonelli. Brown was at the plate when Brendan Jones attempted to steal 2nd. Ian Bourne was on 3rd. The throw went to the pitcher. Bourne was leaning towards home, and Marshall, the pitcher, fired it to 3rd for the 3rd out of the 1st inning. So the Highlanders threatened in the 1st. The Crimson Tide were able to get out of it. Let's see what they do here in the 2nd. First pitch from Marshall is in for a called strike to Brown. Brown, the Highlanders' right fielder. That's chopped down the 3rd base line, fielded in foul ground, strike 2. balls, 2 strikes. Here's the offering to Brown. That's inside. Ball 1, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Highlanders undefeated, 3-0 on the season. Opened out the season with a 7-0 victory against Malden. As in that one, they got out ahead early and held on to it. That's put a charge into the gap. As Brown will round first and stay there. As he got hold of that one, put it into the left field gap there, fielded by the center fielder, sent back in, but the Highlanders are in business here with the leadoff man on. Pointed out the Highlanders like to be very active on the base paths. Aiden O'Sullivan, the starting pitcher today, up at the plate. And Brown is away, trying to steal the bag. A nice throw down, and he is out. As Velasco shows a nice arm from behind home plate, he is caught stealing is Noah Brown. It was a called strike on the pitch as well, so no balls, 1 strike. Bases empty, 1 away here, bottom half of the second. A scoreless game. O'Sullivan doesn't offer at that one, called strike 2. The other Aiden not playing today, Aiden O'Donovan. One of the better hitters for the Highlanders as O'Sullivan stays alive, tipping that one off. Looks like Velasco got nicked on that one. So they're going to check him out. He looks okay. They settle back in. No balls, 2 strikes is the count to O'Sullivan. 1 away, bottom half of the second inning. No score in this game. As Marshall kicks and delivers. That one's outside for ball 2, or ball 1, I should say. Highlanders opened out the season with that 7-0 victory against Malden. Then they were able to up in the reigning champion Lynn English Bulldogs. As that one is hit to short, Gibbs can't handle as it gets by him. And O'Sullivan is on, looking to help his own cause with a nice single with the shot into left field. 1 away. Highlanders have a runner at first. That's their pitcher Aiden O'Sullivan. Stepping in as Jared Antonelli, their third baseman. After that 3-2 victory over Malden, or I should say over Lynn English, the Highlanders able to beat Melrose last week. So that one's catching the outside corner for strike 1 on Antonelli. 1 away here, bottom half of the second, no score. Highlanders have a runner on first. That is Aiden O'Sullivan. So Antonelli is at the plate. Curveball outside, ball 1, 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Antonelli. Highlanders in that game against Melrose fell behind 2-1 through 3 innings. They were able to come back and get that win, though, against a very tough Melrose team, or Medford team, I should say, by the score of 11-3. And that Medford team, the Highlanders will be meeting again at Tufts when they play Monday, May 9th. That is a doubleheader. The Highlander softball as well as Highlander baseball teams will be playing at Tufts. And there's a called strike 3 on the outside corner on Antonelli. Nice pitch by Marshall, catching that outside corner. 2 away now for the Highlanders as Kevin Clark steps in, one of the tri-captains. O'Sullivan and one of those other captains at first base. Sullivan looks at a called strike 1 to start this at bat. Kevin Sullivan playing shortstop for the Highlanders. The leadership of this team is what Coach Matt O'Donnell is so happy with. O'Sullivan, and that one is Clark putting a charge into it. Left fielder ranging across, and he will make the play by Saya. And that will do it for the Highlanders here in the bottom half of the second inning. We move to the top of the third, still scoreless here at Trum Field. We are back for the bottom half, or top half, I should say, of the third inning. is coming to the plate for the Crimson Tide. Will be their 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Marshall, Saya, and Marshall again. Marshall, the starting pitcher, is Bobby Marshall. Currently up to bat, or Adam Marshall, I should say, and Omar Marshall at the plate right now. Marshall, the first baseman for the Crimson Tide. O'Sullivan on the mound, starts him off with a called strike. O'Sullivan has had quite a few strikes as he has rung up 6 straight members of the Crimson Tide. Swing and a miss, strike 2. So O'Sullivan looking very tough on the mound for the Highlanders. 1-0 on the season after getting the win against Lynn English. Swung on, strike 3. O'Sullivan now with his 7th straight strikeout. That will bring up Saya, the left fielder. See a nice play to end the bottom of the 2nd inning. Ranged across, squares around to bunt, offers at it. Strike 1. Crimson Tide trying to figure out something to do with Aiden O'Sullivan on the mound. He has struck out 7 straight. That is a called strike 2, catching the outside corner. Great location there for Aiden O'Sullivan. No balls, 2 strikes. Here's the offering, the fastball, and he can't catch up to it. Strike 3. 8 straight strikeouts now for Aiden O'Sullivan. And that will bring up the leadoff man and opposing pitcher. Marshall, the lefty, got a single in the 1st inning, a pop-up that was misread by Kevin Clark, I should say, the shortstop. So that one's in the dirt for ball 1. Marshall then attempted, or I should say, took 3rd base on an errant throw, trying to pick him off of 1st. Swing and a miss there from Marshall. 1 ball, 1 strike. And then Marshall was stranded at third base when O'Sullivan struck out the side in the 1st. 2 away here. Top of the 3rd. 1 ball, 1 strike offering. Curveball catches the outside corner. O'Sullivan really painting the corners right now. 1-2 is the count. 2 away here. Top of the 3rd. O'Sullivan looking for his 9th straight strikeout. And just barely tips it, does Marshall, for the foul. So we will reset and do 1-2 once again. That is popped up on the fastball. Foul ground around 3rd base. Antonelli trying to get round to it. It falls in fair, I believe. And that is a fair ball as Marshall again gets a single on a pop-up to the left side. The wind got a hold of that one, brought it back into play. Again, that bright midday sun. This game began at 10 a.m. Of course, it's Patriots Day. Kickoff move over to 1st. Marshall's back in time. Of course, it's Patriots Day here in Boston, so I think by law, all baseball has to begin before noon. I'm not sure about that, but I think that might be the case. So, of course, we began at 10 a.m. Marshall off with the pitch, and Nell will hold that one and not throw down. Stolen base will go to Marshall. So they have a man in scoring position. 2 away here, top half of the 3rd, I should say. 1 ball, no strikes, tipped back into the screen. We'll even it up 1-1 to Gibbs. Gibbs struck out. He's the first victim of 8 straight strikeouts. And that one catches the outside corner for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count now to Gibbs. 2 away here. Top half of the 3rd. Runner on 2nd is Marshall. Kick and delivery fastball outside and low for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Gibbs. Sullivan got 8 straight strikeouts in between 2 pop-up hits by Marshall. Marshall is away with the pitch. Throw down to third is errant into left field. Runner is coming home, and Marshall will score as he steals third. And then on the errant throw from Annell will come in to score. Everett will take the 1-0 lead here with 2 away in the top half of the 3rd inning. It's a full count to the battered Gibbs after Marshall scored, and that is a fastball inside for the walk. So Everett keeping traffic on the base paths.
Hey, way to go, kid.
That'll bring up Turilli. Turilli struck out looking back in the 1st inning, swings and misses at strike 1. Everett has taken the lead, 1-0. Marshall got his 2nd hit on a pop-up. That one fired over to first. Gibbs back safely. Marshall, the opposing pitcher, the Everett pitcher, able to come in to score as he stole third. The errant throw down from Annell got away from Antonelli. And another stolen base attempt, a high throw into center field. Gibbs looking to go to third. He'll turn back around as Bourne was able to back that one up. Stolen base for Gibbs. Everett has only had Marshall and Gibbs on the base paths, but they have both caused problems for the Highlanders. Timeout as Gibbs was able to get his cleats reset. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count. 2 away, runner is on second. That is Gibbs. Everett leads 1-0. Good block there by Annell. That was in the dirt for ball 2. Really has the opportunity here, the RBI opportunity, with Everett leading 1-0. Swing and a miss there. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 away here. Top of the 3rd inning. Everett with the 1-0 lead. Swing and a miss as O'Sullivan gets his 9th strikeout of the game, but not before Everett gets a run across. They lead 1-0 as we move to the bottom of the 3rd. Marshall, the pitcher for the Crimson Tide, scoring that go-ahead run, helping his own cause. He is 2 for 2 at the plate for today. Highlanders will have numbers 9, 1, and 2 coming up. Robbie Larkin squares around the bunt, lays it down nicely, fielded well by Marshall, and he fires it over to first for the out. Larkin, the right fielder for the Highlanders, laid down a nice bunt attempt, but Marshall handled it very well for the 1-3 putout. That'll turn the lineup over as Tejada will come out. He lined out softly to the pitcher back in the 1st inning. That one's outside, ball 1 to Tejada. Highlanders trailing 1-0. As the Crimson Tide able to get a run in the top half of this inning. Curveball in there for strike 1, call. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Tejada, 1 away here, bottom half of the 3rd inning. First home game for the Highlanders as they are undefeated 3-0, opening out the season with 3 road victories. That one swung on and missed. Strike 2 by Tejada. Offering for Tejada, swung on, strike 3, swinging. Ball did get away from the catcher, Velasco, but he fires it down to first to secure the strikeout. And that is the 2nd out of the inning. That'll bring up Mateus Annell. Annell popped out to shortstop back in the 1st inning. Annell, one of the tri-captains for this Highlander squad. Plays the catcher position. And he hits that one to third base. Fielded nicely. High throw. He was off the bag, and the Nell is in for the single. As Santana's throw was a little bit high, and Marshall had to come off the bag to try to play it. So Nell is on first. That'll bring up Ian Bourne. Bourne singled up the middle, and that one's line just foul here down the first base line. Bourne singled in the first, stole second, went to third on a passed ball, but then was caught leaning the wrong way on a double steal attempt to end that inning. 2 outs here, as that'll even the count 1-1 to Bourne. Two away, bottom half of the third inning. Highlanders trailing 1-0. Good. That's in there for called strike 2 on the outside corner. Runner at first for the Highlanders is Mateus Anel. One ball, 2 strike offering to Bourne, low from Marshall. Evens the count at 2s. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away here. Bottom half of the third inning. Highlanders looking to even this up. Runner at first is Anel. Anel getting picked off there. Throw comes to first, and they get him at second on the pickoff. We have a stoppage here. Looks like the home plate umpire is going to call a block there. He bumped, I think. And that is going to leave the runner at second now, as Mateus Anel is going to be credited with that. So now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bourne hits it into left field. That's going to be good enough for a single. Nell's going to come around trying to score. Here's the play at the plate. It is up the line, and Anel ties this one up off the Ian Bourne hit. As Mateus comes around to score on the single, Bourne takes second on the throw. So Ian Bourne tying this game up with the RBI single after Anel was able to take second base. 2 outs here as Brendan Jones steps in. He walked back in the first inning. Good job by Velasquez. He was able to block that one in the dirt, keeping Bourne at second base. So the Highlanders have tied it up 1-1 here, bottom half of the third inning after Everett took the 1-0 lead. 1-0 count to Jones is popped high. Pitcher Marshall setting underneath it, and Omar missed that one as it pops out of his glove. Jones will be on first. Bourne advanced to third. So the pop-up bedeviling both squads here early. That brings up Noah Brown. Brown singled into left field back in the second inning. He was caught stealing. Highlanders have runners on the corner, tie ball game 1-1, 2 away here. Highlanders looking to take the lead. Jones is away from first. This time the throw goes back to the pitcher again, but Bourne does not lead away, so Jones will take that stolen base. So Highlanders, 2 runners in scoring position. And that's a line shot up the middle. Gibbs with a diving stop, fires over to first, comes off the bag, but he's able to get him as Marshall leaned right into him and was able to get Brown. Nice play there at shortstop by Gibbs, but the Highlanders get one across, tying this one at 1 as we move to the 4th inning. We are back for the top half of the fourth inning as Everett will send to the plate batters number 4, 5, and 6, Velasquez, Velasco, and Santana. All three victims of the strikeout, their first time at the plate. As Aiden O'Sullivan on the mound, he is dealing for the Highlanders with 9 strikeouts. Game is tied 1-1. Ground ball to second. Roach makes the play, fires over to first, and on the 4-3 putout, that is the first out. And frankly, the first out recorded by the Highlanders that has not been a strikeout. As O'Sullivan, with 9 strikeouts through the first 3 innings, as the first ball put into play that the Highlanders have gotten an out on. As Velasco steps in, the catcher for Everett, swings and misses at the curveball down low for strike 1. 1 away here. Top of the fourth, tied up 1-1. Fastball catches the outside. No balls, 2 strikes, the count to Velasco. Velasco was able to work it to a full count his last time up. He will not do that this time as he swings and misses in the dirt. Was out of the hand for a moment of Annell, so he fires down to first to secure that strikeout. 2 away here for the Highlanders as they look for their first, as they look to hold Everett scoreless here. That one's hit into left field. Ranging over, looking to make the play, and he does, is Robbie Larkin. So on the fly out into left field, that will do it. A quick 1-2-3 inning for the Highlanders and O'Sullivan. We move to the bottom of the fourth, tied up at 1. We are back for the bottom half of the fourth inning, tied up 1-1 as the Highlanders taking on the Crimson Tide of Everett. Leading off for the Highlanders this inning will be Aiden O'Sullivan, followed by Jared Antonelli and Kevin Clark. O'Sullivan, of course, on the mound for the Highlanders, has been absolutely stellar on the mound. First pitch from Omar Marshall is down in the dirt for ball 1. O'Sullivan singled back in the second inning, but was stranded at first base. As O'Sullivan pops this one up, driving in for it, overrunning the ball, the third baseman there, Santana. It is a very, very tough sun today, as the pop-up has been quite daunting for both defenses to handle, as that one fell foul. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Aiden O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan with 10 strikeouts through his 4 innings of work, looking to help his cause here with the bat. Omar Marshall able to catch the outside corner with that pitch for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count. Nobody out here. Tied up 1-1, bottom half of the fourth inning. Fouled back into the screen by Aiden. Omar Marshall, the pitcher for the Crimson Tide, scoring the lone run of the game for Everett. As that is a ball inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to O'Sullivan. Marshall also the only member of the Crimson Tide with a hit so far today, as he's 2 for 2. Both of those were pop-ups that the sun made very difficult to play, as ball 3 is in there. 3 balls, 2 strikes, full count to Aiden O'Sullivan. Nobody out here. Bottom of the fourth. A tie ball game. As that is in there, called strike 3. That'll bring up Jared Antonelli. Antonelli struck out looking back in the second inning, as Marshall now has 3 strikeouts in the game. The strength of the Highlander team is their pitching. We definitely see that with Aiden O'Sullivan out there And what he has done today is Antonelli is out ahead of that one for strike one. Offensively for the Highlanders, Aiden O'Donovan not here. One of their better offensive players is O'Donovan. Makes it a little bit more difficult to get those runs across. The Highlanders tied up in this one 1-1 as Antonelli fouled that back. One ball, or I should say no balls, 2 strikes the count, with one away here in the bottom of the 4th. Swung on and missed by Antonelli as he gets rung up for his second strikeout of the day. 4th one for Omar Marshall on the mound. That'll bring up Kevin Clark. Clark hit a line shot into left field. That was caught by Saya. Back in the second inning. Strike one on the curve, down low to Clark. Clark, one of the tri-captains on this team. Coach Matt O'Donnell really appreciates the leadership that O'Sullivan as well as Clark and Annell have brought to this team as they spearheaded off-season weight workouts and throwing sessions as well. Count is even 1-1. So that one's outside, ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike the count to Kevin Clark. 2 away here. Tie ball game 1-1 in the bottom of the 4th. That one's in the dirt, ball 3. Three-1 offering from Marshall. Clark hits this one high into center field. Could drop in, but it will not, as the center fielder Lara came in making that play, and that will do it. 1-2-3 inning for the Crimson Tide as we are tied moving to the 5th. As the Crimson Tide of Everett will have coming to the plate 7, 8, and 9 in their lineup. Lara, Marshall, and Saya. Lara, the center fielder, leading off, made a nice play to end the top half of the 4th as O'Sullivan fires and delivers a called strike on the outside corner. So Lara struck out back in the second inning in amongst those 9 strikeouts by O'Sullivan. He is now up to 10 strikeouts on the day. A curveball outside, ball 1, 1 ball, 1 strike the count. O'Sullivan has been absolutely phenomenal out there so far throughout the first 4 innings. That one's outside for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike the count to Lara. O'Sullivan kicks and delivers. That one's fouled back into the screen. Evens the count at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Top half of the 5th inning, tie ball game 1-1. As all the scoring occurred in the 3rd, Everett forced a run across in the top of the 3rd, and the Highlanders answered back to tie it as Mateus Annell came across to score on the Ian Bourne single. Lara hits that one back into the screen. Count remains 2-2. Highlanders looking to remain undefeated on the season. As over in Lynn Classical, who is also undefeated and tied with the Highlanders for the lead in the GBL, taking on the reigning champion, Lynn English Bulldogs, today. And that would lead to a possible matchup of 4-0 teams for the conference lead this coming Wednesday. And we will have that action here on Somerville Ed TV as well. That one's in there for a ball. Swung on and missed, strike 3, as Lara goes down for his second strikeout of the game. That'll bring up Adam Marshall, first baseman for Everett. He struck out to lead off the 3rd inning. O'Sullivan has been absolutely phenomenal as he has 11 strikeouts through 4 1/3 innings worth of work. Swung on and missed for strike 1 to Marshall. Highlanders tied for first in the GBL along with Lynn Classical with identical 3-0 GBL records. Swung on and missed strike 2 to Marshall. No balls, 2 strikes the count. Everett tied for third place with Revere, Lynn, and Lynn English with a 3-3 GBL record. Or 2-2, I should say, GBL record in all 3 cases. That's a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count now. Swung on and missed. O'Sullivan rings up his 12th strikeout of the game. That'll bring up David Saya. He struck out back in the 3rd inning as well. His first plate appearance, 0 for 1 on the day. Fouls that one into the screen for strike 1. Saya, the left fielder, made a great play to end a Highlander threat back in the bottom of the 2nd as Kevin Clark put a charge into left field. Saya did a great job covering some space and making the play. That was ball 1, evening the count at 1-1. 2 away here, top of the 5th, as O'Sullivan catches the inside corner, or actually outside corner. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes now the count. As that one's popped up over towards us. It's going to go into the stands. So O'Sullivan will offer up another 1-2 offering. As that one's grounded back to the pitcher O'Sullivan, he boots it a little bit, fires over to first after getting it, and gets him just in time. On the 2-3 putout, that will do it. 1-2-3 for the Highlanders there in the top of the 5th. We move to the bottom of the 5th inning, tied up at 1. We are back for the bottom half of the 5th inning as the Highlanders tied up 1-1 against the Crimson Tide. We'll have numbers 9, 1, and 2 coming up. Robbie Larkin leading off for the Highlanders. He attempted to bunt for a base hit back in the 3rd inning. A nice play by Omar Marshall. The pitcher for Everett was able to get him at first with the 1-3 putout. 2-3 putout. As this one's hit into center field, and that play is made by Lara out in center field. 1 pitch, 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring up Tejada. Tejada 0 for 2 on the day. Soft liner back to the pitcher Marshall in the 1st. Struck out swinging in the 3rd. That one's up high for ball 1. Highlanders looking to get some offense going here as their pitcher Aiden O'Sullivan has been absolutely phenomenal on the mound with 12 strikeouts through 5 innings of work. But Omar Marshall is answering back as he evens this count at 1-1. So he has only allowed 1 run to cross as well. This one's a fly ball in right field. Looks like it's going to drop, and it does, as Tejada with the 1-out single into right gives the Highlanders a runner on the base paths as Anel will come up, the catcher for the Highlanders. 0 for 2 on the day. He popped out back in the 1st inning, reached on an error by the shortstop in the 3rd, and came around to score as he has scored the only run for the Highlanders today. At first is Tejada. Highlanders love to be active on the base paths as that one's in for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes the count, 1 away here, bottom half of the 5th of a tie ball game. And there goes Tejada as he's away with the pitch. Pitch is called strike, and he is out at second. Velasco gets another Highlander attempting to steal. So now 2 away, nobody on base. Matthias now at the plate. This one's popped up, left-hand side of the infield. Settling underneath it and making the play is the third baseman Santana, and that will do it for the Highlanders as they come away empty-handed here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. We should move to the top of the 6th, tied at 1. We are back here for the top half of the 6th inning at Trum Field. The Highlanders tied with the Crimson Tide of Everett by the score of 1-1. Aiden O'Sullivan is the story for the Highlanders as he has been absolutely phenomenal on the mound. Through 5 innings of work, he has struck out 12 members of the Crimson Tide. Leading off is going to be Omar Marshall, the opposing pitcher. Swing and a miss there from Marshall on the low fastball. Marshall has gotten 2 hits, 2 for 2, and scored the lone run of the game for the Crimson Tide. Both of those hits were frankly misplayed pop-ups with a very bright sun at 10 a.m. start time. Called strike on the outside corner. No balls, 2 strikes, the count to Marshall. So Marshall 2 for 2 on the game. Came around to score in the 3rd inning. That is the lone Everett run as that one's outside for ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count. Highlanders would love to keep Marshall off the base paths here. Kicks and delivers ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count now. O'Sullivan went 5 innings in his first outing against Lynn English. Got 10 strikeouts in that game. Looking to extend further in that 5-inning outing here. And that is swung on and missed in the dirt. Anel sends it down to first to secure the strikeout. And for the first time today, Marshall is kept off the base paths. Goes down as the 13th strikeout. I want to verify my numbers there. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is correct. 13th strikeout of the contest for Aiden O'Sullivan. That brings in Gibbs, the shortstop. Swung on and missed. A high fastball there. Gibbs struck out in the first. He walked and stole second and was left stranded at second back in the 3rd inning. So 0 for 1 on the day for Mr. Gibbs. He has flashed some leather out in the field as well. He's made a great diving stop on a potential hit earlier this game. That one's fouled back into the screen. Strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes, the count. 1 away here. Bottom of the 6th, or top of the 6th. Highlanders tied 1-1 with the Crimson Tide. Everett looking to get above 500 in GBL play as they are 2-2 coming into this game. Highlanders undefeated in the GBL, 3-0, undefeated overall as well. So that one's ball 1 to Gibbs. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count. Just outside on that curveball. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Gibbs. Gibbs worked a walk, like I said, back in the 3rd inning. And then was able to steal second. That's just outside on the fastball. Good eye there by Gibbs, showing some patience. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Fell behind 0-2 in this at-bat. Has fought it back to a full count. 1 away. Top half of the 6th. Tied up 1-1. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. So Gibbs goes down for his 2nd strikeout of the game, and that will bring up Turilli, the right fielder for the Crimson Tide. He has struck out twice, struck out looking in the 1st and swinging in the 3rd. O'Sullivan now with his 14th strikeout of the game. Curveball there outside for ball 1. Pitching definitely the strength of this Highlander squad, and you are seeing it here. That one's a line shot, but handled well by Kevin Clark. And that will do it. 1, 2, 3, 2 via the K. And we move to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 1. We are back for the bottom of the 6th inning, tied up 1-1. Highlanders have the heart of their order coming up. Numbers 3, 4, and 5, Ian Bourne, Brendan Jones, and Noah Brown coming up for the Highlanders. Highlanders offense needs to get untracked, as Omar Marshall has been able to keep them in check, holding them to 1 run through 5 innings of work. Bourne, the lefty, settles in at the plate. That one's ball, down low. Bourne 2 for 2 on the game. Singled in the first and singled in the third. Lefty on lefty matchup here, and that's in for a called strike. 1-1 is your count. Bourne was caught leaning the wrong way back in the first inning as he was picked off of third base back then. That is in there for a called strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count now to Ian Bourne. Curveball outside for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Highlanders have been following the lead of Aiden O'Sullivan, their pitcher, who has been just dominant out there, but Omar Marshall, as that's fouled into the screen, has answered back ably as he has worked his way through 5 innings of work, allowing only 1 run as well. 2-2 offering here from the lefty. Outside for ball 3 as Ian Bourne works this at-bat full. Bourne leading off here, 2 for 2 on the day, leading off here in the bottom half of the 6th. So that one's fouled off here on the first base side. Count remains 3-2. Bourne, a multi-talented, multifaceted player, plays center field for the Highlanders. Also pitches. Came in to get a save against Lynn English a few weeks ago. And this one's down the right field line, curving, and will land foul. Bourne just barely ahead of that one. Put a nice charge into it. So another 3-2 offering here from Marshall. As Bourne looking to improve on his 2 for 2 day. That one's up high. So Bourne will take first with the walk. Only the 3rd walk of the game given up by Omar Marshall, and that brings up Brendan Jones. Jones walked back in the first. Got on by virtue of an error in the 3rd. Squared around a bunt. Ball comes down to first. Bourne back in time. See what the call was on that pitch. There's nobody out here. Highlander leadoff man Ian Bourne. Leadoff man this inning, I should say. Led off this inning with a walk. Brendan Jones at the plate. 0 for 1 on the day. Does have a stolen base as well, does Jones. Bourne also with a stolen base. He almost got caught leaning there, but was able to dive back just in time, was Ian Bourne. Kept the tag on him there a while, had to crawl back to the base. Good job there, Headsy. First offering to Jones was a strike, so no balls and 1 strike is your count. It's Omar Marshall trying to keep Ian Bourne close at first. Bourne off pickoff move. And Bourne's going to be out on the pickoff. Second Highlander to be picked off going for the steal. Second time Bourne has been picked off this game. First out of the inning for the Crimson Tide. Time's going to be called as Bourne's spike got up a little bit into the second baseman as he made that play. Velasquez. One away here, bottom half of the sixth inning. Tie ball game 1-1. Brendan Jones at the plate. No balls and one strike is the count as Ian Bourne was picked off on the 1-3-4 putout. Jones hits this one deep into center field, but settling underneath it is Lara, and he makes the play. Two away here as Noah Brown steps to the plate. Noah singled into left field back in the second inning, was caught stealing, however. He grounded out to the left side of the infield on a very nice play by Gibbs, the shortstop, in the third inning. Swung on and missed on the curveball for strike one. Tie ball game here, 1-1, bottom half of the sixth. Omar Marshall has done an excellent job out on the mound for the Crimson Tide, holding the Highlanders to 1 run. So that one's inside for ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike the count now to Noah Brown. Brown, the right fielder for the Highlanders. 2 away here, bottom of the sixth. So that one's in the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike the count. That one's hit to third base, handled on the hop, fired across the diamond. Nice play by Santana as they're able to get Noah Brown on the ground out. That will do it, a 1-2-3 inning after the Bourne pickoff at first. Highlanders and Crimson Tide tied at 1. We are ready for action here in the top half of the 7th inning. A 1-1 tie ball game currently, as both teams were able to get a run across in the third inning. A masterful pitching performance by Aiden O'Sullivan, as he has 13 strikeouts through 6 innings of work. It's his longest outing of the year so far. As stepping in to face off against O'Sullivan is Velasquez, as he takes a ball from the first offering. Velasquez 0 for 2 on the day, struck out in the first inning. Grounded out to second in the fourth. Swing and a miss there for Velasquez. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count. O'Sullivan has been absolutely phenomenal through this game so far. Swing and a miss there by Velasquez. Took a little bit off. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. So Sullivan looking to rack up another strikeout. I'm going to double check my count. He might be up to 14 at this point. So that one's up high for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. And yes, he does have 14 strikeouts. Looking for his 15th if he can ring it up here. It's fouled off here on the first base side by Velasquez. Count remains 2-2. O'Sullivan has been absolutely dominant on the mound, but the Highlander bats have not been able to support him, as they've only been able to force 1 across. So that one's in the dirt for ball 3. So Velasquez works it full, leading off here in the top of the 7th inning. Highlanders, their first home game of the year, 3-0, with their 3 road victories. This one's high into left field. Coming in and making the play is Robbie Larkin. That'll bring up Velasco, the catcher for the Crimson Tide. Velasco 0 for 2, has struck out twice. He's played an excellent defensive game behind the plate, though, as he has thrown out quite a few Highlanders running around the base paths. This one charged down the right field line, but it's going to go foul. Velasco falls behind, no balls, 1 strike. 1 away here, top half of the 7th inning, a 1-1 game. That one's up high with the fastball for O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan went 5 innings against Lynn English a couple weeks back. In his only other start of the year, he struck out 10 Bulldogs in that game. Into his 7th inning of work now as he hits a called strike against Velasco. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count, 1 away here. Top half of the 7th. So that's the fastball. It's outside for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Velasco. O'Sullivan with 14 strikeouts through 6 1/3 today. That's up high. Another full count. Velasco works it full. Velasquez went full to lead off this inning, and now Velasco works it to a full count. Swung on, tipped into the glove of Annell for strike 3. That is 15 Ks on the day for Aiden O'Sullivan as he rings him up for the 2nd out of the top of the 7th. Santana will settle in. Santana 0 for 2 on the day, struck out back in the 2nd, flew out to left field in the 4th. First offering from O'Sullivan is a strike. That one's fouled back into the screen, strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes the count. Nobody warming for the Highlanders in terms of stretching out O'Sullivan this game. He's looking to make it through 7 innings of work here. That one in the dirt with the curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. O'Sullivan has been taken to full counts by the first 2 batters of this inning. However, he was able to get a fly out and a strikeout. Looking for another 1-2-3 inning for the Highlanders. Swung on and missed, and Santana strikes out. And that's a 1-2-3 Highlander inning. We move to the bottom half of the 7th, tied up 1-1. At the bottom of the 7th inning, tied up 1-1 here at Trum Field. Home opener for the Highlanders as Aiden O'Sullivan at the plate looking to help out his fantastic pitching effort so far. O'Sullivan with 16 strikeouts as the starting pitcher for the Highlanders today. He's leading off this inning as he will be followed by Antonelli and Clark. That's ball 2. O'Sullivan 1 for 2 on the day, struck out looking back in the 4th, singled and was left stranded at first base in the 2nd. 2-0 offering from Marshall. Called strike 1, catches the upper portion of the strike zone. 2 balls, 1 strike to O'Sullivan. Omar Marshall on the mound for the Crimson Tide as he swings and misses. Does O'Sullivan has answered back O'Sullivan's dominance on the mound as he is also only allowed 1 run, has Marshall. Lefty starter for the Crimson Tide. O'Sullivan fouls that back into the screen. Count remains 2-2. Offering from Marshall This one's popped up. Marshall looking to settle underneath it. Pop-ups have been tough today, but Marshall does a nice job taking care of that one. One away here, bottom half of the 7th. Tie ball game 1-1. Jared Antonelli will step into the batter's box. Antonelli 0 for 2 on the day. He struck out swinging back in the 4th, struck out looking in the 2nd. Antonelli wanting to avoid the golden sombrero. Curveball falls in for strike 1. Marshall using the upper portion of the strike zone to great effect. Marshall not as dominant as O'Sullivan, but has gotten the same results. As Antonelli hits that one down the third base line to Santana, he fires it across the diamond and will get Jared at first on the 5-3 putout. 2 away here now for the Highlanders in the bottom of the 7th.
Here you go, Kev.
It's Kevin Clark stepping in.
Alex, go away. Left center, right center.
Clark flew out to left field in the 2nd. He flew out to center field in the 4th. Clark has some strength and some power in that bat. One of the tri-captains for the Highlanders. Curveball drops in for strike 1. Marshall doing a really nice job getting ahead of the batters here. Kicks and delivers. Swung on, strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Now the count to Kevin Clark. Marshall looking for a 1-2-3 inning here to keep the 1-1 tie in place. That one's in there for called. Strike 3 as he drops that curveball in the upper portion of the strike zone. That's going to do it. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Crimson Tide. We are tied at 1s as we move to the 8th. We move to the 8th inning as we are still tied 1-1, and we have a pitching change as Aiden O'Sullivan, after a phenomenal performance, we're going to close the book on him with no decision, and Ian Bourne, stepping in from his center field position, will take the mound. Robbie Larkin moving from left field to center field. Aiden O'Sullivan out into left field for the Highlanders. First offering from Bourne is a ball down low. Ian Bourne has 1 save on the season as he got the save against Lynn English a few weeks ago. Comes in from the bullpen for the Highlanders. He's facing off against Lara as that one's ball 2. Adam Marshall and Saya will be who he will face, numbers 7, 8, and 9. Highlanders tied up 1-1. Aiden O'Sullivan, as that's in there for a called strike. Aiden O'Sullivan's absolutely phenomenal in this game. It's a shame he's going to go away with no decision. 7 innings of work, 2 hits, 1 run, that was earned, 1 walk, and 16 strikeouts. As that's a hot shot to first base, handled very well and taken care of there by Brendan Jones. So the unassisted play to first base. Brendan Jones gets it. Lara out. Adam Marshall, first baseman for the Crimson Tide, stepping in. Marshall 0 for 2 on the day with 2 strikeouts. First opportunity to face the lefty Bourne. Bourne's first offering is up high for ball 1. Ian Bourne, a young sophomore for the Highlanders. Quick wind-up there as he comes from the stretch. Very, very difficult to time that up with that fastball as he catches the inside corner for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away here. Top of the 8th. Swing and a miss there for Marshall. Count moves to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tied up here at Trum Field as that one's fouled back into the screen. Marshall staying alive. Looking to avoid the golden sombrero. One away here. The 1-2 offering from Bourne. Just a little bit low on the curveball. 2 balls, 2 strikes now the count. Highlanders got the tremendous pitching performance from Aiden O'Sullivan as this one's fouled into the stands on the first base side. Nice catch over there by one of the fans. Count remains 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 as he tipped it back into Annell's glove. Third strikeout against Marshall today. First strikeout of the day for Ian Bourne on the mound as he is in relief of Aiden O'Sullivan. That will bring up Saya. He is 0 for 2 on the day. He grounded out to the pitcher back in the 5th, struck out back in the 3rd. So that one's inside for ball 1. Tie ball game here, top half of the 8th, 2 away. Ian Bourne in relief of Aiden Sullivan on. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, the count. So that one catches the inside corner for strike 1. Fouled back into the screen. Count evens up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Highlanders looking to hold Everett off the scoreboard here, keep it a 1-1 game. So we are in the 8th inning. Aiden O'Sullivan was absolutely phenomenal. 16 strikeouts through 7 innings of work, but the Highlander offense not able to give him support. So mired in a 1-1 tie. That one's fouled back into the screen. Count remains 2-2. Everett looking to flip their lineup over, and Bourne catches the inside corner for called strike 3, and that will do it. 1-2-3 for the Crimson Tide. We move to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Tie score 1-1 here at Trum Field. We are back in the bottom half of the 8th inning of a tie ball game. 1-1 is your score. Omar Marshall remains on the mound for the Crimson Tide as he will face Robbie Larkin, Devinachi Tejada, and Mateus Anal. First pitch from Marshall is in for a called strike. Marshall has pitched very well, not as dominant as Aiden O'Sullivan, but has gotten great effect as that one is right through the middle. Robbie Larkin leads things off for the Highlanders with a line shot up the middle. Single there for the Highlanders. Bottom half of the 8th inning, Highlanders looking to get a lead here, and they have their leadoff man turning the lineup over as Tejada will come to the plate. Tejada singled back in the 5th, was caught stealing. He's 1 for 3 on the day. And as he squares around to bunt, a beautiful bunt there by Tejada. He might be able to leg this one out as the throw pulls Marshall off of first base, and that will go as a bunt single there for Tejada. Moving up to second is Robbie Larkin, the go-ahead run. Nobody out here, bottom half of the 8th. So number 2 batter in the lineup, Mateus Anel, comes up with the RBI opportunity. Going to have a discussion on the mound with Marshall. Omar has been excellent throughout this game. So he has allowed 6 hits and 1 run. Has not left any runners on since the 3rd inning, as Marshall has combined with Velasco, the catcher for the Crimson Tide, to really hamstring the running game of the Highlanders. The Highlanders have a great opportunity here, nobody away, bottom half of the 8th inning, tied up 1-1. They get their two leadoff men on, their two first men, I should say, on, as Robbie Larkin singled up the middle, and then Tejada was able to get a bunt single. This is a fly ball deep into center field, misplayed by Lara. Runners were holding, coming around looking for the lead run as the ball is kicked by Gibbs, and that will do it there as the Highlanders come around to score. And that is the Highlander win on the fly ball out into center field. And that will do it as the Highlanders come away with the 2-1 victory on the fly ball RBI by Mateus Anel. Coming around to score the game-winning run was Robbie Larkin. And the Highlanders get the win 2-1 here. They continue undefeated this season as they move their record to 4-0. Everett will drop to 3-3 on the season, 2-3 in the GBL. And this sets up an opportunity for the Highlanders to take solo possession of GBL first place with a matchup against Lynn Classical coming up on Wednesday. Looking at the numbers very quickly, the win's going to go to Ian Bourne as he came in relief of Aiden O'Sullivan. Ian Bourne gets the win. Aiden O'Sullivan, though, was the story of the day as he struck out 16 members of the Crimson Tide in 7 innings of work. Highlanders come away with a 2-1 victory with the run coming across in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Robbie Larkin with the game-winning run as Mateus Anel gets that RBI with that fly ball to center field. That's going to do it for us today from Trum Field. We will have Highlander baseball action throughout the spring, so keep your eyes open to our YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe, and keep track of what's going on with Highlander baseball. It's a great season shaping up as they lead the GBL. Thank you very, very much to Joe Constantine, our producer, as well as Bill Trudell on the camera. I am Todd Harmon, and you have been watching Somerville Highlander Baseball on Somerville Ed TV.